So the last speaker for this portion, for this is going to be the last lecture from JZC Holdings. We already hear from Yuki Nishimura, Program Manager of the Sustainability Co-Creation Unit of the company. He's also a Chief Operating Officer of SAFFAIRE Sky Energy LLC. He's to talk about the efforts toward the recycling-based society through SAF or SAF. I am Nishimura from JGC. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity today. So there have been discussion over power, but I'd like to talk about biomass, or biomass-based fuel for transportation, specifically for aviation. First, about the JGC Holding Corporation. So we work on total engineering business as a core business, working on the EPC, and we're working on plants, energy-related plants like a oil refinery or LNG plants. We design and develop many of those plants globally. And I was a oil refinery engineer, so leveraging that insight, I started thinking about the potential to work on new business. And with that idea, I'm working on sustainable aviation fuel. So again, SAF is short for Sustainable Aviation Fuel. And it's also called SAF, SAF or SAF. So the conventional aviation fuel is made from a fossil fuel, but SAF is made from non-fossil fuels. So actually there are various diverse different type of feedstock, and the waste, the food oil or a tree or grass or other waste, they all can be a fuel stock for the SAF. And with the usage of the SAF, we will be able to reduce the life cycle CO2 emission significantly. But by a feedstock or by a manufacturing methodology, the carbon dioxide emission reduction performance is quite different. And if we use a waste cooking oil, there are many steps involved, and and so with different feedstock used, so there will be different effects in the CO2 reduction. But with using waste cooking oil, we can reduce by 84%. And actually the yield is 80% on the volume basis. So the waste cooking oil is getting much attention with its high potential. Now in the aviation industry, the SAF is much talked about. And so this is to do with the decarbonization of the aviation sector. But the aviation sector is a very difficult sector where to be electrified, especially when it comes to mid-size or large size. Electric aircraft is difficult to be achieved. So the liquid fuel is needed to be used. So the solution only available to us is the SAF at this moment. So globally, SAF is getting attention. And also, in Europe and United States, there is a starting of the mandating to use SAF. And when that starts, that means that the companies is if the airport cannot supply a SAF, then the airplanes are not going to come to your country. To avoid that, Japanese government has set a goal to supply SAF domestically by 10% by 2030. And given the situation, we, together with the Cosmo Oil and the company called Renewable International, we're working on SAF manufacturing. And we are adopted as a project subsidized by NEDO as a project to establish the supply chain model for SAF production. and self-product manufacturing equipment. We're now working on construction from this month, and in 3 months will be a high peak for the construction. At Sakai refinery of oil, Cosmo Oil is serving as a premise for that, and 3 companies established a Sapphire Sky Energy, and Sapphire Sky Energy was lended their premise by Cosmo Oil. And within this year, we'd like to conclude this construction, and early next year, like to do the commissioning. And we need to obtain international certification. And we are now preparing to start supplying in the run up to the expo in Osaka. And once again, with the usage of waste oil, we can enjoy high reduction rate of the emission, which can be shown on this slide. And what are challenge for us? That is how to collect feedstock. When we look at the generation of the waste oil, annually about 500,000 tons are being generated, and one side from households and the other side from businesses. About 100,000 is being generated from households, and they need to be discarded. There's no actual scheme to collect waste cooking oil from households. Only limited municipality are collecting them. It's such a waste. But on the business side, according to the Food Recycle Act, the oil is collected, but a large portion of which is exported outside of the world. And I mentioned earlier that in Europe, the SAF is making progress, and some of the imported oil are being used. So it's such a waste that we are exporting those waste oil. So for the household side, the waste oil is discarded. For the business side, they are exported. So we are now looking at the potential of recycling. In total, we can use 200,000 tons. So that is what we're looking at. To address the challenge, we believe the increasing momentum is very important. As mentioned by other speaker earlier, our endeavor need to be supported by the population. And for that, as a purpose, we started a Fly to Fly project. It appears at the first sight that it has nothing to do with decarbonization, but we use this key visual and a catchy phrase to attract attention of the public so that we can work together. Our business shouldn't be just about B2B. It has to be a B2C or a B2B2C. We need to engage many people who had nothing to do with the aviation industry. So to get attraction of those people, we are working on this Fly to Fly project. It's been about a year since we started this project, and currently 128 businesses, organizations, or municipalities have joined the project. As you can see, of course, there are aviation companies, and also there are restaurant companies and such, but there are companies who have nothing to do with those cooking oil, and municipalities are also participating. And I think this is because they find interest in participating in, thinking that it will be interesting. Maybe some of you have used a Tokyo Metro, and if you look at the digital advertisement in those subways, Fly to Fly project is running an advertisement using their digital signage project. And in past, I think it was really unthinkable for a metro company or railroad operator to run a publicity activities in relation to aviation industry, but that is happening. And also, working with municipality is very important to gain interest of the population. And as extension from that, we are now working with the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. And Fly to Fly project is a effective working with businesses, but we now are running a campaign with different names and different logo under the name of Act for Sky. We started this in March this year. So those are the activities we're now doing to raise awareness. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the future of SAF. And what's on this slide is a map showing the feedstock and manufacturing method for SAF. My intention is not to talk about each of the technology or feedstock, but the key point here is that there are different type of diverse range of the feedstock and different technologies. And often I'm asked what is most important, but my answer is that all of them are important. And a broad category of those technology are those four on this slide. One is to use the oil or grease, and the other is to use the alcohol, and the other is to gasify waste like tree or grass, and that is e-fuel, like green hydrogen and CO2 to be used. So those are the four broad categories of the SAF technology and feedstock. But the key point is, in addition to technology, the feedstock. Feedstock is important in terms of quantity, cost, and the competition against food. So we shouldn't just focus only on technology, but at the same time, we also need to pay attention to the feedstock and also raising awareness. And in terms of securing feedstock, there should be technology for the purpose of securing feedstock. We're now working with the Odakyu on DX in relation to that. And also, business scheme need to be developed. Of course, all amount of the feedstock cannot be secured domestically. So we need to be working with the companies outside of Japan in terms of partnership. Like a fly to fly, I just explained, is the example of our efforts to partner with different stakeholders. And I think it is necessary to deploy this in a nationwide manner. So not just one company, but not just Japan, but with the partnership in total manner, we need to realize a recycle-based society using SAF. The key point here is the following. As our seniors made efforts under Sunshine Project, with your guidance, we'd like to see further development of this technology. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Nishimura. So other speakers have been discussing power generation, and you talked about the SAF, sustainable aviation fuel. That was very interesting. I'd like to ask two questions because you're different from power generation. There were many questions actually being given in advance, but I'd like to select two of them. Starting from simple question. Can the technology be applied also for the kerosene? Second question. Can biomass really reduce CO2 reduction? And you introduced the ECOS material, but did your company also did your own assessment in terms of the carbon reduction effect? Thank you for the question. Starting from first question, can kerosene turn to be sustainable? Well, kerosene and the SAF, they are in the same category in terms of the nature of fuel. So the answer is yes, technologically. But biomass, there's a limitation to it compared to solar. The availability is limited. But key point here is to use a to make a liquid fuel, because there is a sector where liquid fuel is absolutely needed. When it comes to kerosene, Well, turning kerosene sustainable itself should not be objective itself, but they need to be regarded as a tool. For example, for warming the houses. If we want to make the warming of the house say sustainable, maybe the insulation or the energy efficiency or other solution are possible. So the liquefaction of biomass does not have to be a priority for the application in the air conditioning for the households. If the answer to a question was to use the biomass-based fuel for the application of kerosene. Now, with regards to the reduction effect, the life cycle assessment is needed for the growing of the biomass to the end. We need to conduct the end-to-end analysis, and our company does have a division to conduct LCA analysis, and we did judge that there is a reduction effect. If there is a carbon dioxide emission in significant manner at the growing side or the transportation side, there can be a negative effect in total. So using biomass does not justify everything. Well, thank you very much for your thorough response. I know many people are interested in asking questions, but with limited availability of time, we would like to conclude Nishimura-san's presentation at this moment. Please give him a round of applause.
NEDO